guys, my name's Erica. I'm here with you today from Einstein's Workshop, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a craft project with you guys today. So I know that a lot of you guys are home right now and have been home for a while, and some of you are also experiencing some pretty significant life events like birthdays and holidays are coming, and all these things that maybe looked a little bit different last year. Getting together with friends and families, which you can't do this year, unfortunately. But you know what? There's a bunch of different ways that you can celebrate, and one of the ways is by decorating your house. So I know a lot of you have been kind of looking at the same four walls for a little while now, so I wanted to do an activity with you guys that's really kind of fun and can, kind of be a little exciting at home. So here's what we're making. We're making signs. Mine says hello, but I'm actually going to try making a happy birthday sign today. So the materials that you guys are going to need, something to draw with, doesn't really matter. I have crayons, I have colored pencils, I have markers. You could use paint, whatever suits your fancy. You'll need some string, which we'll use later on, some scissors, a ruler, which we'll go over why that is, some different kinds of tape, Scotch tape or, a glue stick. It's kind of up to you. And I'll show you which one you would use and why. And then you'll also need some paper. So I have some construction paper, I have some regular plain white printer paper, or you can use some cardstock, which is, just like thicker paper. If you have cardstock, I would use that or the construction paper. But if not, regular white paper will work just fine. Alright, so let's get started. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making letters out of strips of straight paper. So I know a lot of you guys, when you write your names or when you write whatever it is that you want to be making a sign out of, you're going to see a lot of curved letters. So let's take a look at the sign I'm making today. And you can also write in uppercase or lowercase letters, but I would recommend writing in uppercase letters. And the reason why is because there tends to be fewer curves in uppercase letters. Alright, so here is happy birthday all written out. So a lot of these are straight lines, which is what we want. So I'll go over those with some red marker. Let's see, H is all straight lines. A, P's have a couple of straight lines. Y, let's see, R has one. I'll show you in just a moment. Once I finish, there we go. All right, so all of my straight lines are now in red. And you can see that we do still have some curves that we have to figure out. So how can we make those letters without using any curved lines, so only straight lines? And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to kind of make them boxy. So you can actually see on my O here, O's are usually complete circles, but we made it into kind of a rectangle there. So the P's are going to use that same kind of concept where you're going to go over, down, over. So you already have that straight line here, and now we have 1, 2, 3 more straight lines. B's are a little trickier. I think I'm going to try making my B like this. So now I have a long line here, a medium line here. Actually, sorry, it's the same length. So long, long, and a shorter line here, and then I connect them. So it's all straight lines. R's are a little bit unique too because they're going to use a diagonal line. So we're doing the same thing as a P, right? So over, down, over again. But then we're also going to have that diagonal line in there as well. And that's going to make it into an R. The D's, I've actually made a couple of these signs. So this is how I discovered I like to make my D's, which is that instead of doing regular, like a P, over, down, over, instead of doing over, down, over, I'm doing diagonal down, down, and then diagonal again. So you're kind of getting that little bit, so it doesn't look so much like an O, basically. So this is the first thing you want to do is actually write out what you're going to be writing so that you know exactly what shapes or what, how many lines that you're going to need. So the next part, you can put that aside, and the next part, this is my favorite part, is you're going to take one of your sheets of paper, so cardstock if you have it, construction paper, regular paper, totally up to you. You can go ahead and you're going to start doing some decorations to it. I like to start by doing some marker here. And keep in mind when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're getting all the way to the edges. So don't cut off like this, get all the way to the edge. So you might want to put another piece of paper underneath so you're not getting marker all over the table. I know I'm at my dining room table right now, so I don't want to get marker all over it. You want to make sure you're doing the whole thing. Alright, got some purple on there. Let's do some green, maybe. And this can look like whatever you want it to look like. So this is what is called abstract. You're not drawing a specific thing. You know, you're not drawing a dog. You're not drawing a house. But you're going to be drawing just random, cool designs. And it can be whatever you want it to be. So I'm having fun with some curvy lines. You can do some straight lines in there if you want to. Alright, so I have these kind of cool wavy lines right now. But since my paper is white, I'm going to fill in the whole thing. So I'm going to grab some colored pencils and I'm going to color it in. And actually what I'm doing here is I'm using something called mixed media, which is my favorite way to draw. So using mixed media pretty much means that you're using different kinds of drawing materials. So markers is one kind of media, colored pencils are a different kind, crayons are different kinds. And when you combine them all together, you get some really cool results. So that's my favorite thing, is to make mixed media art. Alright, so there's my work of art. Totally done. So once you get to this part, the next part that you're going to be doing is cutting it into strips. Now, some of you are going to be doing longer things like happy birthday. Some of you are maybe doing something a little shorter like hello. My hello used, actually I think exactly one sheet of paper, so that kind of gives you an idea of how many strips that you're going to need. So I can already tell by looking at my happy birthday that I'm going to need a couple more of these. So I'm going to go make a couple more of them. All right, so I have 3 pieces that are pretty much all the same. They're all a little bit different, but they all have the same kind of pattern on it. So the next part of this is going to be cutting it into strips to make our letters. Couple different ways you can do this. The first way is grab any sort of ruler, just go ahead, put it down. You can kind of eyeball it, I don't know, that looks like a nice strip, make a line. You want to put it so that your pretty side is down, so that you're not marking on the pretty side. Mark the not pretty side, and then just kind of go through and, make lines, whatever looks nice, and do it all the way down the whole sheet of paper. So that's one way you can do it. The way I actually made this guy up here, though, is I measured it. So I'll show you on this one. So again, pretty side down. And then use your ruler. For those of you who have used a ruler before, it's got some measurements on there. And I did 1 inch. So the pieces of paper that I'm using, like most pieces of paper that you guys will probably be using, are 8.5 inches by 11. We're going to be making our marks this short way, which means that this length here is 11 inches. And if I have 11 inches here, and I'm going to do 1 inch strips, I'm going to end up with 11 strips, right? So the way you do that is you go ahead, measure, put the 0 at the end of the page. You can mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you'll get 11 strips that way. We're going to do the same thing at the top of the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then go ahead and you're going to connect the top and the bottom dots. So I'm going to show you a little closer. So you see all these little tiny markings. It's unfortunately a little hard to see because I used really light. Let's see if I can make those a little darker. Make a couple of those markings a little bit darker so you can see them. There we go. So I have the marks down here at the bottom, marks here at the top. I'll take my ruler, I'll line up on the bottom and the top one, and then I go ahead and draw a line. And then when I do that, I'll get another strip. So each of these are going to be strips here. So it's up to you. If you don't really care how, if the strips are a little thicker or thinner, go ahead and just make your marks. It doesn't really matter. It's all however you want to do it. The really nice thing about activities like this that are a little bit more crafty and more creative is that there's really no wrong way to do it. Absolutely anything you do here, you can make it work. It'll be beautiful. It's kind of what art is all about, right? Taking what you got and making something really beautiful. So I like to take my time when I cut because I want to make sure that I'm doing nice straight lines, and I know that it takes a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these pieces of paper cut into strips. Alright, so I've got all my strips cut out, strips galore. And now I'm going to refer back to what I made earlier, that happy birthday. That's going to show me where to put everything. So all I'm going to do now is, this is the planning phase. So I'm going to make everything on the table in front of me so that I know exactly where I'm putting what. So I'm going to put this down a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So the way I like to do it is have the up and down, so this is my H, are going to be just a whole strip. So actually, put you up one more time to show you. Up here, for example, you can see this right here, the vertical is exactly the same length as one strip, so I don't have to cut that at all. These guys here, these ones that connect, the ones that go horizontally, those are half strips. So if I take one strip, fold it in half, snip it, Now I have a half strip, and that is how long these guys are. To give you a little bit of an idea. So, I'll put you back down. There we go. So my H, I can do 1, 2 here, and then a crossbar there, just like that. I'm going to put that over here so I have some room. My A. Again, I can look back up here and see 1, 2, and then a half bar. For my P, it looks like this is going to be a whole one, and then these ones going to be half and half. And this is probably going to be a half as well, because it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. So there's my whole one. There we go, so that's one P. My other P is going to look just like that, right? And then for my Y, I got these diagonals. So I think for that one, I'm going to try using just half strips. 1, 2. There we go. So now I have my whole happiest written out here. And I could do birthday, so I'm going to start that out. The B here. So this is where things might get a little bit tricky. Because if I do this right here, and leave everything where it is while you're working. I'm going to move this out of the way so that I can show you what I'm talking about, though. So I'm going to get this a little closer. So this is my B. And if I were to make my B right now, just using half strips and full strips, it's going to look a little bit silly. Right now, maybe kind of looks like an 8. If you'll notice the way I have my B done here, I have the line down here. And then I have this line, and this line isn't quite as long as this one or this one. So that just kind of involves looking at it, maybe move this guy over a little bit, and this guy right here, we're going to snip just a little bit off the end. There we go. Now we have a B. So you're not using perfectly long and halves, but you can cut them a little shorter. The R, I'll show you as well, is going to be a little strange looking. So for the R, you got this guy. Got some half strips here, right? So the first thing for an R is we're just going to make a P, right? And then we just add this little tail here. But this is a little too short to kind of get that R all the way down, so we really want a longer piece there. But that's like way too long, right? It's running way down here. I want it to line up right about here. So I'm just going to eyeball it, or maybe I'll even mark it so I can use my pencil to kind of look and think, okay, this is about where I want my R to end. And I can mark that. Come over. Chop a little bit off the end there. Now we have an R that makes a little bit more sense. Alright, so go ahead and put your whole happy birthday or whatever phrase you're doing, your name, whatever it is, go ahead and put that whole thing together right in front of you. So what I've done here is I've gotten everything laid out exactly how I want it to be. I decided I want to do happy up here and then birthday down here, so it's not in one long strip. That's totally up to you. You can just do one long strip if you want, in which case you want to lay out the whole thing in one long strip if you can. So the next part, though, is that we're just going to tape the pieces of the letters together. So for this, you can either use some Scotch tape, a glue stick. I like using Scotch tape. So I'm going to use some of that. I'm going to grab just one letter. One letter. And I can go ahead and tape it together. So I'm going to start at the very beginning, right? So I'm starting with happy with my H. Alright, there we go. I have one perfectly formed H. And I'm going to keep going through all of my letters, and I'm going to tape them all together, just like that. So each letter is taped on its own separately. Alright, so now I have all of my letters put together, and they're just laid out in front of me. So I can kind of move them to how far I want them apart to be. Since birthday is kind of long, I'm going to put the letters a little closer together. When I did hello back here, my letters are pretty far apart, so I'm doing a little closer together for this. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to string them up. So a couple different things you can use for string: yarn, twine, fishing line, whatever works for you. I'm going to use this stuff right here and some of this twine. And in order to get the twine the right length, you're going to go ahead, you're going to measure about how long your word is. So my word goes off the screen a little bit, but it's about this long. And then I need to add a little bit more, maybe about that much, doesn't really matter. And I need to add it to both ends, so I need to add it twice. So if you look up here, you can see this is the length that's attached to the letters. But I also have more string that comes off like this, and the same more string that comes off like this at the other side. So I want to make sure that I have enough on there to actually pin it up. Maybe it's going to be in a doorway, maybe it's on a wall. Either way, you want to have a little bit of that extra string. So I'm going to measure how long the word is, and then a little bit more for one side, and a little bit more for the other side, right? And if you're like me and you have two words, you're doing two layers, you'll actually can just take that first string that you just measured, go ahead and line up a new piece of string, and make it the same exact length. They don't have to be, but that's an easy way to do it. So now I have two pieces of string, one for happy, one for birthday. You kind of see them right there. And I'm actually going to start in the middle. So I'm going to take my strings, fold them right in half. So these are the ends. This is the middle. So I'm just going to take the middle of one strand, and I'm going to start off with birthday because it's closest to me. I'm going to put one string aside. That'll be for happy later. This is for birthday, so I had one piece of string, and then I folded it in half. So I have the ends here, the middle's right here, and I'm going to start in the middle. So birthday has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. So half of 8 is going to be in the middle of 4. So I can count one letter, and actually the easiest way to do this is to say one letter on each side, move in one letter, move in one letter, move in one letter, and that's my middle right there. So I can take that folded part, that's the middle of my string, and I can put it right in the middle. Now I know where my middle is. Now I can go ahead and tape them on. You can do this with a hole punch, you can do this with glue. My favorite way is to just grab a little bit of tape, and tape one side of the top, and on the string, and then just fold it over like that. Show you that again. So a little piece of string on one side. Oh, sorry, a little piece of tape on one side, and then grab the string. And on the other side, and fold that tape over. There we go. Yeah. And some of your letters, like my H, has two pieces that's going to attach to the string. My T only has one thing on the top, but since this is so long, I'm actually going to tape once here. I'm going to tape it again on this side. Then you'll have some other letters like the D on the other side. And notice every single time I tape one on, I'm putting it back so I can see exactly where my letters need to be. So I can put it back on the table, and now I know, okay, that's where the yarn is, and that's where I want my D to go. My D only has one kind of little top bit here, so I'm actually only going to tape that down in one spot. Oh, there we go. All right, so I have T, H, and a D right there. I'm going to finish with the rest of my letters. All right, I got my whole birthday done. There we go. So I got the whole birthday done. So I still got to do the happy part though, and then I can go ahead. Once I finish doing the happy part, I can go ahead and put them both up on the wall, right up one on top of the other one. When you tape them onto the wall, make sure that you're getting a parent's help for this because different kinds of walls, you can use different things to, tape or tack. So parents might have you use some tacks. My favorite thing to use though is tape. This blue tape is my favorite. It's the nicest for walls. This green's also really good for walls. It's called frog tape. And some masking tape if you need to as well. So one of those tapes are usually pretty good for walls, but again, ask your parents so that you're using something that's going to be nice to the paint on your wall. So have fun, you guys. I'd love to see what you guys make. So once you finish it, you go onto our website. That's einsteinsworkshop.com/virtual learning. We'll put the link down in the comment section. And if you go there, there's a little place where you can submit pictures of your work. We're missing our community right now, and we love seeing what you guys are working on right now. So go ahead and give us a shout out, and have fun, you guys. So here's the finished project, you guys. I just want to show you what it looked like when it was all done. This I made in honor of my nephew who's celebrating his birthday all the way up in Maine. So happy birthday, Jackson. And I hope you guys all enjoyed the video.